Hello and welcome to Courts Today by Live Law. Let us get to today's top legal updates. State of Tamil Nadu has moved the Supreme Court against union withholding funds over not implementing national education policy and has sought release of 2,291 crores. After the Delhi High Court's rap, commentator Abhijit Iyer Mitra has agreed to take down tweets against news laundry journalists. The Supreme Court has granted interim bail to Professor Ali Khan Mahmoodabad and asked to form an SIT to probe about the posts on Operation Sindoor. The top court has granted anticipatory bail to ex-IAS probationary officer Pooja Khedkar in the fake certificate case. In the Nainital rape case, the special POCSO court has denied bail to the 73-year-old accused. The Bombay High Court, while quashing an FIR, has held that police cannot compel citizens or public servants to help them. And in the 1998 black buck poaching case, the Rajasthan government has moved the High Court against acquittal of actors Saif Ali Khan, Tabbu, Sonali Bendre, and Neelam. I am Urvashi Chauhan with your daily roundup of legal updates from across the country. For detailed reading, you can always visit www.livelaw.in. Please make sure to watch this video till the end and do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. The Tamil Nadu government has filed an original suit in the Supreme Court against the union government, accusing it of withholding over 2291 crore under the Samagra Shiksha scheme, that is the SSS, for the financial year 2024-2025. The reason? The state's refusal to implement the National Education Policy 2020 and the PM Shri Schools scheme. The state has invoked Article 131 of the Constitution, which allows states to directly approach the Supreme Court in disputes with the centre. Tamil Nadu contends that the union's decision to link disbursal of SSS funds to the implementation of NEP and PM Shri is unconstitutional, arbitrary, and a breach of the federal structure. According to Tamil Nadu, the Project Approval Board had cleared an outlay of 3,585 crores for 2024-2025, out of which the centre's share, that is over 2,151 crores, was due from 1st April 2024. However, not a single installment has been released. The centre allegedly made NEP 2020 implementation and signing of the MOU for PM Shri Schools a condition for fund release. Tamil Nadu refused, citing opposition to the NEP's three-language formula and raising concerns over the policy's lack of statutory backing. The state insists that Samagra Shiksha is a statutory scheme under the Right to Education Act 2009 and its funding cannot be made conditional upon other unrelated policies. It describes centre's actions as a pressure tactic to force policy compliance and claimed that this violates both state autonomy and constitutional federalism. Tamil Nadu also highlighted that the fund delay has disrupted teacher salaries, student benefits like textbooks and uniforms, and infrastructure grants, severely affecting school functioning. The plain notes that only Tamil Nadu, Kerala, and West Bengal have been denied funds, all the states that have opposed the NEP. In the next update, the Delhi High Court, in a strong move today, refused to entertain commentator Abhijit Iyer Mitra's defense in a defamation suit filed by 9 women journalists of News Laundry until he agrees to take down the offensive tweets that triggered this case. The controversy, let me tell you, stems from a series of social media posts made by Iyer on X, which was formerly known as Twitter. The women journalists, namely Manisha Pandey, Ishita Pradeep, Suhashini Biswas, and 6 others, along with News Laundry, have filed a defamation suit demanding a public apology and 2 crores as damages. They've said that the tweets not only targeted them personally but also degraded their profession by likening their workplace to a brothel. They alleged that Iyer went so far as to label them prostitutes and called the platform's subscribers the same. The suit stresses that this is not the case of satire or criticism protected under free speech. The plaintiffs argue that such sexist slurs are aimed purely at humiliation and dehumanization not just of women journalists but also of sex workers who too, they say, deserve dignity. The court was told that the posts are not just offensive, they are calculated attacks on the women's dignity and their right to work without fear of abuse or harassment. When the matter came up before Justice Purushendra Kumar Kaurav, the judge did not mince words. After reading through the tweets in question, Justice Kaurav posed a strong remark to Iyer's counsel, questioning whether such language could ever be justified. Following the court's remark, Iyer's counsel, Advocate Jay Anant Dehadrai, agreed to immediately immediately remove the tweets. While the court has not yet ruled on the main defamation claim, it made it clear that no further hearing will take place until the objectionable content is taken down. In an important update, the top court has today granted interim bail to Ashoka University professor Ali Khan Mahmoodabad, who was arrested over his social media posts related to Operation Sindoor. The court, however, refused to stay the ongoing investigation. The FIR filed against him invoked several provisions of the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, including those related to promoting communal disharmony, making assertions prejudicial to national sovereignty, and using words or gestures intended to insult the modesty of a woman. Following his arrest, he was remanded to 2 days of police custody by a magistrate in Sonipat. Yesterday, the magistrate rejected police's plea for a 7-day extension of his custody and instead sent the professor to judicial custody. On the same day, the Haryana State Commission for Women, led by Renu Bhatia, also issued a summons to him in connection with the allegedly offensive content. The matter then reached the Supreme Court. A bench of Justices Suryakant and N.K. Singh took the petition filed on Mahmoodabad's behalf, seeking interim bail. During the hearing, senior advocate Kapil Sibal drew the bench's attention to the comments Mahmoodabad had posted on his Facebook and Instagram profiles, reading them out loud and describing them as highly patriotic statements. These comments included Mahmoodabad noting how right-wing commentators were applauding Colonel Sofia Qureshi, while also stating that those commentators should equally express concern for victims of mob lynching and bulldozing. In response, Justice Kant remarked that so after commenting about war, he turned to politics. Justice Suryakant also expressed concern over the tone and timing of the professor's comments, particularly in light of the national sentiment following the terror attack. The bench observed that while everyone is entitled to free speech, the language used must be respectful and not provocative. Justice Kant described the posts as potentially dog whistling, indicating they could be interpreted in more than one way and might hurt public sentiments. Justice Kant emphasized that Mahmoodabad, being a learned professor, should have chosen more neutral language. Despite these observations, the court granted interim bail to him, stating that the purpose was to facilitate a fair and thorough investigation. However, the court refused to stay the investigation and directed the Haryana DGP to constitute a special investigation team within 24 hours. The SIT is to include senior IPS officers from outside Haryana and Delhi and must include at least one woman officer. Also, as a condition of bail, the court has barred Mahmoodabad from posting or writing anything further related to the Operation Sindoor incident or making any statements regarding India's counter-response or the terrorist attack. The court also has asked him to cooperate fully with the investigation. Well, in a related development in this matter, the National Human Rights Commission today took suo motu cognizance of a media report regarding the arrest and remand of Professor Khan. In a press release issued, the commission has said that a gist of the allegations based on which he has been arrested discloses that prima facie his human rights and liberty have been violated. Thus, the commission has issued a notice to the Director General of Police, Haryana, calling for a detailed report on the matter within 1 week. In another important update, the top court has today granted anticipatory bail to ex-IAS probationer Pooja Khedkar, who has been accused of submitting fake OBC and PWD certificates in the Union Public Service Commission Civil Services examination. The bench of Justices B.V. Nagaratna and Satish Chandra Sharma was hearing an anticipatory bail plea filed by Khedkar. In January, if you recall, the court had granted her interim protection from arrest. Today, the court made this interim bail absolute. The court rejected the contention of the State Council that Khedkar, although appearing before the investigation authorities, was not cooperating with them and that the allegations against her were of a serious nature, meriting no relief. The council stressed that by showing fake certificates, she had exceeded the number of attempts in giving the UPSC exam. Senior advocate Siddharth Luthra appeared for Khedkar. The court granted anticipatory bail with conditions like in case of arrest, she will be released on furnishing 25,000 cash and 2 life sureties. She must cooperate with the investigation and not misuse her liberty or influence witnesses or tamper with evidence. Any breach of these conditions can lead to cancellation of the bail. And now let me tell you, a special POCSO court in Uttarakhand's Nainital district has denied bail to a 73-year-old man accused of committing the offense of rape against a 12-year-old girl. Bail was denied to the accused named Mohammad Usman, noting that the victim has supported the prosecution's case in her statements made under Section 180 and 183 of BNSS, and that the accused, who is alleged to have committed a serious offense, may tamper with the evidence if released on bail. Usman has been accused of luring the victim, who was going to her home from the market, by offering her 200 rupees and thereafter raped her at knife point. The girl narrated the incident to her family, following which a police complaint was filed in the matter and the accused was booked under BNS, the POCSO Act, and the SC/ST Act. Let me also tell you here that this incident involving a Hindu girl had ignited communal tensions and property damage in Nainital. Even the High Court reprimanded the district administration and the SSP for failing to prevent the vandalism of shops and restaurants in the market area where the accused's office is situated. The court also expressed a strong displeasure over the trolling of judges and advocates on social media in connection with this rape case. Moving further, in a strong rebuke to the coercive attitude of the police, the Aurangabad bench of the Bombay High Court has flagged what it called an unfortunate mentality in the police department that everyone must comply with police directions or assist them in their work regardless of circumstances. A division bench of Justices Vibha Kankanwadi and Justice Sanjay Deshmukh made these remarks while quashing an FIR filed against Bala Sahib Arawat, a 52-year-old assistant commissioner in the Social Welfare Department in Dharashiv district. He was booked for not sending employees under him to act as punch witnesses in police investigations. The FIR had invoked sections 187 and 188 of the Indian Penal Code, offences which relate to failure to assist a public servant and disobedience of orders. However, the court observed that refusal to assist police cannot always be criminalized, especially when there are genuine reasons. The bench noted that Arawat had clearly informed the police that due to a shortage of staff, he was unable to spare any employees for the role of punch witnesses. His explanation, the court said, reflected inability, not refusal, and there was no indication that his reason was false. In fact, the bench said and pointed out that letters sent by the police carried a threatening tone, warning of legal consequences if Arawat failed to comply. This, the court emphasized, was unjustified and legally unsound. It said that panchas are not to be procured by giving threats. It is a voluntary act. Calling the FIR a misuse of legal provisions, the court invoked its powers under Section 482 of CRPC to quash the proceedings. It reiterated that while citizens have a duty to help police, this does not amount to compulsion, nor can every refusal be treated as an offence. And lastly, the Rajasthan government has filed an appeal before the High Court challenging acquittal of actors Saif Ali Khan, Tabbu, Sonali Bendre and Neelam in the 1998 black bug poaching case. The case was heard by Justice Manoj Kumar Garg, who listed the matter for further hearing on 28th July, along with actor Salman Khan's appeal against his 2018 conviction by a Jodhpur Sessions Court. While Salman Khan was found guilty and sentenced to 5 years imprisonment, the other actors were acquitted by the trial court. This case, as you know, relates to the alleged killing of 2 black bugs, a protected species under the Wildlife Protection Act. This was in the Bhagoda Ki Dhani near Jodhpur during the shooting of the film Hum Saath Saath Hai in October 1998. The complaint was filed by members of the Bishnoi community, known for their strong commitment to wildlife protection.